Hey, yo, what's good, people? How y'all doing? It's your man, KGM. Hope y'all good, man. Yeah, so let's get to it. So today, man, we're gonna talk about don'ts for investors. You know, the last time we talked about 15 points of things that you need to do if you're trying to make an investment. But today, we're gonna talk about 5 don'ts. Now, it's more than 5, it's about 8. So we're gonna get into it. So the first thing is, number 1, don't buy into promotional companies. Promotional companies are companies that are coming up. It's good to buy into a startup. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. You can buy into a startup, but it has to be maybe a startup that was birthed by an already successful company or a successful CEO who is versed in the game. But but there are some companies. When I say promotional companies, those companies that are not experienced. In the game. Brand new companies. These companies, they can eventually do better, but as an investor, it's better for you to invest your money in something that has been proven, something that has showed and proved, instead of buying into a startup. There's this story about Kobe investing $6 million into a startup at the body armor company that was acquired by Coke. Was it Coke? For 5.6 billion or 5.2 or something. Now his family is getting 400 million from that 6 million investment in 2014. But the CEO of Body Armor, or the team that started at Body Armor, they've done previous companies. They've been successful in their previous endeavors, which ended up being huge successes. So this one too, and for Kobe to invest in that company, he understood the whole game. He understood where the vision, where they were going. So if you understand the vision, if you read their financial, their budgets, and all that, their policies, you interact with the team and you understand where the company is going. Okay, but to be safe, to protect your money, it's better to invest your money in companies that are already established, they've proven over the years. Like I said, you have to check past records, their diversification portfolio and all that. So it's best for you as a new investor not to invest in promotional companies. So that's number 1. So number 2, they said don't ignore a stock just because it's traded over the counter. This is 2022, man. So that counting shit, I don't know. But what they're trying to say is a stock that is not listed on the stock exchange. Because it's not listed doesn't mean it's not good. But the advantage of a stock not being listed is that it's easily liquidable. I don't know if that's a word, but you can turn it to cash easily. When it's listed on the stock exchange, you have to, for you to turn it into cash, you have to go through certain processes and all that. But if it's sold over the counter, it's not listed, it's easily converted. So that's an advantage. So that's that. Then number 3, don't buy a stock just because you like the tone of its annual report. The annual report, like, for when I said in the previous video, you have to check the profit margin. You have to check their diversification. You have to check their policy. You have to check their financial statement and all that. So because you like the tone, doesn't mean it's a good investment. You have to look into certain things. You have to cross your T's. You have to dot your I's. You have to, there's a list of things, and I gave 15 points last time. You have to go through all those points. Don't be caught up in the hype. Because it might sound good, But if you look into the details, then you start seeing the little problems here and there. So that's number 3. So now number 4, don't assume that a high price at which a stock might be selling in relation to earnings is necessarily an indication that further growth in their earnings has largely already been discounted into the price. Because the stock is selling at a high price, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's gonna attract high dividends. It doesn't mean the company has future growth prospect. You understand? There are scammers in this game as well. So like I said in the previous point, you have to check. You have to do your detailed checking. You have to check the whole stuff. You know, for some of you who maybe you've got, like I said, before, you might have a little extra, and you don't have the money to pay a broker, a financial expert, investment expert, and all that. Then you might have to do your own research. But I've done half of it, so you don't have to go that deep. But for those of y'all that, maybe you have a little more than extra, you can pay the broker. Then it's better to work with the best, because you can't just work with an ordinary broker. An ordinary broker, he doesn't have a reputation, because he's here and there. But a broker that's regarded as the best in the industry, he has his reputation to protect. So he's not gonna give you information. He's not gonna give you advice that's not going to pan out. So the point of this is that just because some people might be like, oh, that stock is selling at a high price, or you understand, so the dividend is going to be high, the company is a good company, it's going to grow over the years. Not necessarily. You still have to check step by step all the details. All right? So number 5, do not quibble over 8 and quarters. The previous point is high price. Because a stock is selling for cheap, does not mean it's a bad stock. It does not mean over the years the company is not going to grow, sales is not going to grow, there's not going to be expansion. So because it's cheap, also does not mean, oh, it's cheap, I'm going to buy it, it's good. No. You have to check. You have to do your diligent research. You have to do your due diligence. You have to check all the previously listed things for you to do in order to make that deposit, in order for you to make that investment. So you have to do all these things. It's essential. So the next point, don't overstress diversification. Do not overstress diversification, because now what everybody's preaching nowadays is you got to diversify. You got to, there's ETF. There's something called ETF stocks. This is like the US 30 companies. Because once you buy, you can get it for as low as $300. So once you get this ETF, you get investment in each of those companies, which is a good thing. But at the same time, it's better for you. It's good to diversify, but there's pluses and negatives to this diversification. You can, because the word is don't put your eggs in one basket. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with putting your eggs in one basket when it comes to investment. So you can find a good company. After you've done your research and you see things growing up. You've spoken to personnel in the company, you've checked their marketing strategy, you've checked, their profit margin, you've done all the extensive research that you need to do, and you choose to put all your money. It's not a problem. Also, diversification is a good thing. You can do that as well. So it's not necessary for you to diversify. You can either choose to diversify, but if you're going to diversify, that means more research for you, because that's more work, because you got to know about these different companies, even though for the most part, they are top rated companies. But a company has been top rated before, then it dropped. Especially now, You know, the things going on around the world now, you know, from the look of things, the American economy is heading to a recession. You know, the top economies, they're having problems. You know, Germany, even China and all that. You know, there's war. It's affecting so many things. So now you guys to diversification is good, but don't overstress it. Even if it's one company, it's okay as well. So that's the point. So don't be afraid of buying on a war scare. That's number 6. No, number 7. Don't be afraid of buying on a war scare. Because, you know, when there's war, when there's recession or depression, you know, inflation and all that, some people make more money. The people that know the game, they make more money. Some people go broke. Some people commit suicide because they lose everything. But some people make lots of money in the recession, in the recovery, and all that. So it's for you now as an investor to know the game. Like I said, you know, you work hard for your money. You're trying to double up. So you have to know the game. You have to study the game. That's why I'm doing this. Because you can lose your money easily. So because there's war, that doesn't mean you shouldn't invest. Like shout out to George Gammon. Like he said, sell in hysteria and buy in panic. You understand? So you can look deep into this and you can make your decision. So do not be afraid of buying on a war scare. Like I said, sell in hysteria, buy in panic. George Gammon said that. You need to check that out. Check out his channel on YouTube. So now, number 8, don't forget your Gilbert and Sullivan. You know, that's a metaphor, boy, you know. But the point is, do not be influenced by what doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Do not be distracted. If it don't matter, it don't count. So now it's for you to know what doesn't matter and what matters. Because people are going to tell you this and that. You know, just in the previous point, I talked about war scare. The wars, you know, there's a war going on. It matters. But at the same time, it doesn't, because if you know what you're doing, that's the perfect time to make some money. You understand? That's the perfect time for some people to lose money. But for people that know what they're doing, it's the perfect time to make money. So if it doesn't matter, do not be influenced by it. You know, maybe some companies they're gonna hire, you know, like Dogecoin. You know, now Elon Musk is facing a lawsuit because now, you know, during this crypto spurt, you know, in the past 2-3 years, you know, there's a lot of people lost money because all these companies, they came up with their coin and everything, and eventually they crashed because people were running schemes. You know, they're gonna start these companies. You know, people gonna invest. They're gonna make people invest in the company because, you know, crypto is a new shit. Then when they've got into a point, then they sell the whole shit. They make so much money, but all the investors, they lose. So you have to know what matters and what doesn't. You have to do your research. Coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, you know, they're still around. Even though, you know, it's falling right now, but it's still there. So, you know, so there's Coinbase, there's Binance, those are the companies, whatever. So you guys to do your due diligence. Then number 9, don't fail to consider time as well as price in buying a true growth stock. They said the time you buy a stock is very important, as important as the price. You know, because like in the previous point I said, because the price is high, it doesn't mean the stock is good. And because the stock is cheap, doesn't mean it's good, or doesn't mean it's bad. You understand? So do not fail. So when it comes to time, the time matters. For those that do trading, you know, the the time you enter into a market, it matters because you might know for a fact that the market is going up, but your entry, it matters. Your entry is going to determine how much you're going to make. Because the market is going up doesn't mean it's not going to dip for a little bit or for a while before it goes up. So now, if you enter into the market, if you buy into the market at the time when it's about to make the dip before going up, then that's a bad entry. Because once it makes that dip, you lose money. Eventually, it's gonna go up, but you don't lose money before the market finally goes up. So your entry is as important. So that's the time, as the amount, as the price. Because if you're patient enough, if you waited for that dip, you're gonna get it at a better price and at a better entry, a better time. So you have to take these things into consideration. Then the last one, don't follow the crowd. Do not follow the crowd. You understand? The ability to filter through the noise and focus on the facts. Everybody's saying this, everybody's saying that, everybody's saying, late last year, around September last year, when crypto Bitcoin was 45K. There was hysteria. You remember selling hysteria, buying panic. Everybody was like, "Oh shit, Bitcoin is going to the moon." It was 45,000. And what happened? It kept going up. It got up to 69, almost 70,000, 69,000. And everybody's like, shit, it's going to be 100K by the end of the year. Then it's going to be 1 million by the end of 2022. That's hysteria. But what happened? Now Bitcoin is 21K right now. So now sell in hysteria. So somebody who's following this principle and sold at that time, you're gonna be in some money now. So do not follow the crowd. Just focus on the facts. Now there's panic. Now Bitcoin is low. Now there's panic. Remember, buy in panic. But now don't just go. Don't just rush and buy. Now you got to look. Remember, you got to exercise patience. So now you're gonna look, see how things go. But there's a panic now. Many people don't lose money. But eventually, we are expecting it to go up. So that's that. Do not follow the crowd. Don't be a follower. Filter through the noise. Focus on the facts. Then it's all good. Realization that the financial community is usually slow to recognize a fundamentally changed condition. You understand? Unless a big name or a colorful single event is associated with the change. So when for the most part, when changes happen, the financial community is usually slow to catch up with that change. If a company hires a new CEO, if the CEO is famous, the stock prices go up because that's a big name associated. Even though he might not be good for the company, he might not be beneficial for the company, but because he has a big name, that helps the stock price to go up. Eventually, things might not work out, but you know what? People don't buy into the stocks because he has a big name. But over times, when they hire a new CEO and he's not a big name, and this guy ends up bringing change, it makes things better in that company, people don't usually catch up because the CEO is not famous. Even though most of the time it's announced, but it goes over so many people's head. So now people they see things getting better. They see the company, they're experiencing exponential growth. And now they're starting to catch up. Unlike the one with the famous CEO who doesn't do nothing, but people don't butt into the company just because of the name. So usually people don't catch up, except there's a big name associated. But sometimes the big name is just a scam. Because it's a big name doesn't mean it's something positive is gonna come with it. So that's just the things that you shouldn't do when you're trying to make an investment. So those are 10 don'ts, you know. So the first one, don't buy into promotional companies. Number 2, don't ignore a good stock just because it's traded over the counter. Don't buy a stock just because you like the tone of its annual report. That's number 3. Number 4, don't assume that a high price at which a stock might be selling in relation to earnings is necessarily an indication that further growth in these earnings has largely already been discounted into the price. Number 4. Number 5. Don't quibble over 8s and quarters. Number 6. Don't overstress diversifications. Number 7. Do not be afraid of buying on a war scare. Don't forget your Gilbert and Sullivan. Do not be influenced by what doesn't matter. Don't fail to consider time as well as price in buying a true growth stock. You know, we got to watch the quotations closely. Don't follow the crowd. Understand? So I think the most important ones here, because this is what everybody does. Everybody wants to diversify. You got to buy stocks in these different companies. But how much diversification is necessary and how much is dangerous? You got to consider that. There's nothing wrong in buying in one company or 2 companies. You know, you don't have to buy stocks in all these, you know, different companies. But at the same time, it's good. It's a good investment to diversify, but you guys to know. You guys to know. You know, remember my previous videos, I talked about moderation. So it's for you now to know, like I said, cross your T's, dot your I's. So as you see, it's very hot in this bitch, man. But I got to do this for y'all. So thanks for rocking. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace.